In this video, we're going to cover the steps required to assemble parts together. The first step is to make sure we have all the required parts in the assembly. You don't need to bring all the parts in at once, however, sometimes it is handy to have them all available. Secondly, aligning the parts close to their desired location will help connect the parts later when we start getting into mates. At first, let's take a look at all these components here and make sure we have everything we need. If you don't have all the components in the assembly at this point in time, you can always go back and add them in. You can come up here to Insert Component, and you can say Insert Component here, and any available parts that happen to be open in your file system will be listed here, or you can go ahead and click on Browse and import any other files you might want to have in the design. In this case here, I'll click on the first part, click Open. You can see here it is attached to my tooltip. If I wanted to place another one of these same parts in the assembly, you can have as many of the same existing part in your assembly as you'd like. When you're happy with that, click OK, and it's just going to place it in the assembly. It's a quick way to add new components. Then what I'd like to do is I'd like to line everything up so that I can easily see how to put these components together. So in this case here, I'm going to drag this over to here, but notice I'm dragging it kind of in 3D. So if I spin it around in 3D, you can see it's actually quite a bit higher. So sometimes it's handy to actually look at this in a different view mode. So you might want to look at the top of the parts and maybe align them like this first, and then maybe switch over to a different type of view that maybe look on the side and bring these down. Quickly allows you to move things around in the correct orientation. Next, you can see I have this component here, and I like to have that kind of close to this slot over here. So let's put it over here. And this little green pin looking thing, let's put that up above. And we have this little washer here. Let's spin that around holding down the right mouse button to get it kind of close to the right orientation. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to bring that around, and I'm going to place that close to the end of where this other pin is. Now we got things that are fairly close, but again, might want to move these around a couple times to get them a little bit closer. That's the key to getting and building assemblies correctly the first time, is getting the components in there, knowing what they are, what they're supposed to be doing, and how we want to mate them together. Also, I want to point out you can also turn on and view sketches, planes, axes, or any of these other viewable items here through this list. You can turn those on so you can easily locate the parts. For instance, if I turn on origins, you can see the origins of all the parts. If I go back and I turn it off, you can hide that. Might also want to be using the planes to mate one component to the next. Notice each individual component over here has, if you expand it out, has all the original planes you started with, plus whatever features you use to create the part. So if I go over here and go to the front plane, I could say, hey, I'd like to show that plane. If you don't see it right away, more than likely up here at the top under View, it's not turned on. So make sure you're turning on planes, and then when I do turn it on under the View palette here, I'll be able to see it. Again, if I go over here to maybe to the right plane, turn that on, it'll automatically show. Same thing with a component like this. If I open that component up, I can click on the front plane, click on Show, and because these components are the same, it shows on both of them. Those are the first steps in getting ready to build an assembly, and next thing we're going to be doing is doing some mates. The steps laid out in this video will be repeated in every part in every assembly. Getting the parts laid out well will help you get your model assembled quickly and with less errors.